Tell them we are Labour. Tell them you are Labour. Labour is good. And all the time. Labour sweet. The Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas, Prime Minister and political leader of this great party of ours, Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honourable Curtis Martin, Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Earl Asim Martin, other ministers of government, members of the diplomatic and consular corps, senior government officials, executive members of the Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, executive members of the Kitts-Nevis Trades and Labour Union, representative of the business community, delegates of the Kitts-Nevis Labour Annual National Conference, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very special good afternoon to each and every one of you. Called to serve. I heard a story once of a man who was driving his car. And he saw an old lady stranded on the side of the road. He saw that she needed some help. So he stopped his old Pontiac near her brand new Mercedes that had a puncture, and he got out. He smiled while he was approaching her. Still, she was worried, as nobody had stopped for hours. And moreover, this man did not look safe. His appearance was poor and shabby. And he could see how frightened she was. And so he tried to calm her. And he said, in a calm voice, I am here to help you. Don't worry. My name is Brian Anderson. So the tire was flat, and he had to crawl under the car. And while changing the tire, he got dirty, and his hands were hurt. When the job was done, she asked, how much do I have for you? And Brian smiled and said, if you really want to pay me back, the next time you see someone who needs help, give that person the needed assistance and think of me. The very same evening, the lady stopped by a small cafe. The place looked a little bit dingy. And then she saw a waitress. She realized she was pregnant, about 8 months pregnant. Nice big belly. Wiping her wet head with a towel. The waitress had a sweet and friendly smile, although she spent practically the whole day on her feet. The lady wondered, how could someone who had so little be so kind and giving to a strange person? And then she remembered Brian. The lady finished her meal and paid with a $100 bill. The waitress went back to get the change, and when she came back, the lady was gone. She left a note on the napkin. The note said, you don't owe me anything. Somebody once helped me, just like how I'm helping you now. If you really want to pay me back, do not let this chain of love end with you. The waitress found $400 more bills under the napkin. That night, the waitress came home a little earlier, and she was thinking about the lady and the money that she left. And she was wondering to herself, how could this lady know how much she and her husband needed the money, especially now when the baby is almost about to arrive? She knew her husband was worried, and so she was glad to tell him the good news. And then she kissed him and whispered, now everything is all right. I love you, Brian Anderson. Galatians 5, verses 13 to 14. You know I have to preach a little bit. It says, for you were called to freedom, brothers. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love, serve one another. For the whole law is fulfilled in one word: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Ever since I knew myself, I've always felt the need to help others, the need to give something of myself. Perhaps it was something I was born with, or perhaps it's part of my stern Christian upbringing, in a house where I was taught to love my neighbor as myself, in a house where none who came for assistance was turned back, be it something to eat, money, clothing, shelter, or even just some friendly advice. It's no wonder that when my journeys took me to Cuba, and I saw on those huge billboards all over Cuba, Nosotros mismos, and the word literally translates to me, words that cemented in my brain: we are the same. And it became very clear to me, pellucidly clear, one day in my early career as a doctor, when I saw a poor man on his deathbed, and on another bed, a rich man. Both were waiting to die. But interestingly, their cries were the same. They spoke not about riches or personal gains, but they spoke about their lives. What little good they may or may have not done. What they have done against others. And they regretted any ill will that they would have done to somebody else. Even then, I knew to myself that my life was not of my own. Was not of my own to live for myself, for my own. But my life was a life called to serve. For I asked myself, what is man? What is the duty of man, if not to serve his fellow man? If not to thrive to ensure that those who follow have life a little better than we met it. It was the great Martin Luther King who said, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You don't have to speak proper English to serve. You only have to have a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. And so, comrades, it was with a sense of humble joy and gratitude that I accepted the call to serve in this great party of ours that was founded on the principle for the good that we can do. And not just for the good that we have done, but for the good that we must continue to do for all the people of our federation. I have been told, and I'm sure my springtime colleagues as well, that Vance, we know you. You're a good guy. We know you mean well. We know you will do well. But do you really want to deal with the stress of the two former Labour members working so hard to destroy the party? Do you really want to get into politics at this time? Do you really want to have to constantly responding to everything they say and everything they do? They are going to try to create controversy and uncertainty. They're going to try to say all kinds of things about you. They're going to try to vilify you. They're going to try to destroy you. And my response has always been very, very clear. But that is exactly why Vance Gilbert is here. Vance Sheldon Gilbert is here. For what better time for a man to serve than when something he values is under attack? This great party of ours, of Bracha, Southwell, France, and our founding fathers, this great party of our parents, this great party that must be willed to our children, had reached a stage in its life when once again a strengthening, a coming together, a renewal was necessary. But from within our party, from the bowels of our party, had reared the ugly faces of envy and jealousy, those cardinal sins of greed and pride. And it formed a monster within the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, whose mission was clear. For 30 pieces of silver was mandated to destroy our leader, our party, and our country. And this great party of ours, whose leaders understood, even from the very early days, that the working masses were the motive force behind social progress, that our people did not lack ability, but our people lacked opportunity. And this great party have stood on the shoulder of these giants past and present, who has transformed the life of every single Kittitian and Nevisian, every single boy and girl, every single household. So much have been accomplished that I believe if our founding fathers had to come today, they would stand in awe and be amazed at what St. Kitts has become. They might not even be able to recognize what St. Kitts and Nevis has become. For surely it may have surpassed the vision that they had in their minds at that time. But my dear comrades, the work that has started 82 years ago is not yet done. The work continues in this upward and forward movement as we continue to better the lives and livelihoods of all our people of our great nation. Yes, comrades, we, the Springtime Crew, came to labor at a time when it was needed. Needed to ensure that our party, the great St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, through the powerful blending of youth and experience, men and women, wisdom and innovation, could even be stronger, even better, and always ready. Ready to defend, ready to respond, ready to initiate, ready to protect, ready to advance, ready to uphold the mantle of the glorious St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, ready to plan, ready to build, ready to ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis, this country that we love, continues to be stable, strong, and on a positive and upward trajectory. It indeed is, comrades, springtime in labor. One of the most famous innovators of our time, Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, he once said, "No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there." But yet, death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped death. And that is the way it should be. Because death is very likely the single best innovation of life. It is life's change agent. And so, comrades, we weep not for those who have gone. We anger and hurt no more. We thank God for his mercies. We thank God for springtime. We thank God for renewal in the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. The 8 candidates who present ourselves to you, we hold ourselves responsible and accountable. We must work together, look out for each other, chastising each other when we have to, and praising each other when that is due. And we must strive to meet our responsibilities to the party and to the nation in a way that is right and honorable and true. All of us within this party and all of us throughout this nation, we must be our brother's keepers. For together, we must continue to work. We must continue the vision of this great party for the good that we can do. For who would have thought that I would ever be standing here before you today? A little boy from Tabernacle. But because of Labour's educational policies, this little boy from Tabernacle, who had astronomical dreams of becoming a medical doctor, or perhaps someday a religious minister, certainly not a politician. And let me remind all of you in the clearest of way, that your son or your daughter as well, through hard work, prayer, and dedication, may become an engineer, may become a scientist, a businessman, a medical doctor, a professor, or even someday the prime minister of this great federation of ours. Whatever their heart desires. Because the barriers of inequity, inequality, and inadequate opportunity have been broken down by the work of this great party of ours, the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. And I am proud, comrades, to be a true representative for what it stands, for what this party stands for. I am even more proud in this moment to be part of this leadership team that will help to realize the dreams of your sons, of your daughters, your dreams, the dreams of continued stability, continued growth, and ever-expanding opportunities and possibilities. And I give thanks to Almighty God for bringing me this far, and my heartfelt gratitude goes out to those of you who supported me right from the very start. You know who you are. Those of you who stood up and stood out, you stood up for Labour in a time when it was not popular to do so. Give yourself a round of applause. That is why we are here, because of you. And you stood up because you understood all that this party has done for this country. You understood that this party, with its extraordinary competence and capabilities, is uniquely equipped to do for this country what no other party can do to continue advancing the work in this country. I thank all of you who work with me day in and day out to fulfill this mission. Those of you who pray for me, those of you who send me little texts in the morning, those of you who chastise me, those of you who knock on my door to give me advice, and those of you who send texts and messages and email from all over the world, I thank you. I want you to know that I appreciate it. I love you, and I do not take your support lightly. I do not take your support for granted. Give yourself a round of applause. And I want to assure you of my dedication and commitment to this task. We must work hard and tirelessly. But this battle is not our battle alone. It is a battle for the legacy of our comrades who have gone before us. It is a battle for our children who are coming after us. It is a battle for the continued advancement of our people. It is an eternal and universal battle for equal rights and justice for all. It is a battle that we all must fight together. And let me in closing, because I see the Minister Martin is watching me. Let me in closing thank and praise our party leader, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, for having lifted the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party from the state in which he met it more than 2 decades ago, and for working with vision and competence and determination to build this party into the force that it is today. Were it not for him, I perhaps might not have been here. The St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party would not have captured the mantle of leadership in 1995. We would have not have had our housing revolution, our educational revolution, our digital revolution, our thrust into green economy. And this Labour government and our blessed St. Kitts and Nevis would not have gone on to win the praise and respect and honor that they have from leaders and institutions all over the world. I am grateful and honored that the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party members of constituency number 7 have made it possible for me to work alongside this great man. I am grateful that he has unfailingly treated me with such respect and consideration. And like everyone in this party, and like everyone in his cabinet, we say, here is a thinker, here is a doer, here is a man, a visionary, a brilliant leader, a brilliant man. And I must also comment on the strength of character and competence and the dedication of the cabinet members. Dr. Earl Asim Martin, our Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Marcella Liburd, the Honorable Glenn Ghost Phillip, and our brother from across the waters, the Honorable Patrice Nisbet, the Honorable Jason Hamilton, and two honorable men who work very, very hard, the Honorable Nigel Carty and the Honorable Ricky Skerritt. Give them a round of applause. These individuals are the personification of hard work and effectiveness. And I am honored to have been working with them, collaborating with them, striving with them for the advancement of our party and our nation. And finally, for my springtime partners, Congress Maynard, Dr. Terence Joe, Dr. Narjan Wilson, and I, we are honored to be part of this great party. And our primary objective in seeking election is to use our training, our skills, our intellect, and our hearts to reach out to all the people of all persuasions, all across this great land of ours, to talk, to connect, to understand, so that together, all Kittitians and Nevisians, we can all cooperate, we can all collaborate, and we can all build our communities, our constituencies, our great nation. I want to assure the people of Labour that number 7, the great Labour constituency of number 7 is Labour and will always remain Labour. I say to you, comrades, that victory is ours. Reinforcements have now appeared. And though the battle rages, we have a great commander. We have the best commander. And so cheer, my commanders, my comrades, cheer. Long live the ministers. Long live the candidates of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. Long live our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas. Long live the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. Long live St. Kitts and Nevis. I thank you, God bless you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.